What's up, everybody? Welcome to the rLounge. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my girlfriend because she texted her boss that she wished he was her dad? She started a new job about 6 months ago. She always talks about her boss. She has a good relationship with him, and it's the first great job she landed after leaving college. We were getting drunk, and I was almost asleep when she texted her boss that she wished he had been her dad. She then realized what she had done and shook me awake and showed me the text. I couldn't stop myself from laughing loudly. Her boss saw the text and texted back, "Okay, thanks." And I saw that and I laughed again. We went to sleep and she woke up and apologized to him. She is very upset with me and she is even more embarrassed now. She is mortified about what he will think of her if even her own girlfriend laughed at her, and she said she hated how I reacted and it was not funny at all. I feel really guilty because I know that her relationship with her dad is terrible, and even if I was drunk, I should have had the sense to not laugh like a child when she was showing me something like embarrassing. Update. I did apologize for laughing, and she said it wasn't my fault, and she was just embarrassed. She really didn't want to go back to work, but forced herself to go to work. He did speak about it with her. He told her that she was a great employee, and he liked her, and told her to forget about it. He also gave her some personal advice. He told her that he understands why she felt that way, as he had had a better relationship with his parents, and he had often been happy when people didn't yell at him and treated him with a modicum of respect. Told her that she needed to understand that people treating her with respect and basic decency was not an huge act of kindness, or a favor she should be grateful for, and it was very important for her to understand that when people don't do that, it is usually their fault rather than something inherently lacking in her. I think I love her boss now. She is so grateful and thankful when I do the most basic good girlfriend crap with her. She's surprised and happy when I don't yell when she screws up or comfort her when she is sad. I have been telling her the same thing, and so has her therapist, and I think another person telling her that she deserves to be treated well will help her. Our first reactions from PDX Flower Power. What a sweet update. Thank you. Yes, your girlfriend hearing from multiple sources that she is worthy of being respected and treated with dignity is going to be helpful. Low self-esteem is some lifelong piece of baggage which is going to challenge us at times, so having those great social supports, significant other, therapist, great boss, is wonderful. Our next response comes from Shadow of Shinra. To add, having it come from her boss might even help more. If she's in the mindset of, my significant other and therapist have to say that, they're my significant other and therapist, then hearing it from someone who is under no perceived obligation to say it might let the message sink in better. Alert Potato has one more thought before we move on. I missed the original and just went back to it. I laughed out loud at it. It's sad that her relationship with her dad blows, but it's adorably heartwarming that her instinct when drunk is to send a text basically telling her boss how great he is. I also think I love her boss. On to the next adventure. Am I the a-hole for no longer bringing dinner for my wife after she claimed I never cook? I work at a nice restaurant as a cook, and every day when I get off from work, I always cook dinner for my wife and our 2 kids, 8 male and 6 female, at the restaurant before coming home. The only time I don't cook for them are on weekends when I'm off, and that's when my wife does the cooking. We usually trade off who makes breakfast and lunch for the kids every other day, but for the week, I'm always the one bringing home dinner. Weekends, we sometimes get together with friends and they come over to the house. My wife usually cooks and I help set the table clean afterwards. One of her friends, Stacy, asked how come I never do any of the cooking, and is it always on my wife all the time making meals for the kids, especially when I'm a cook myself? Instead of correcting her, she sort of laughed and went along with it, making jokes about, you know how it is. And Stacy laughed because her ex-husband was the same way, and then sort of ripped on me in a joking way how I better buck up before I become an ex too. My wife just said, well, let's see if he actually listens and starts cooking for once, joking about all the time I spend in the kitchen at work but won't do the same at home. It really pissed me off. I'm not the husband that just doesn't do anything after I'm home from work. I cook food for her and the kids at work, and on top of that, I make separate dishes for each of them, what she wants and what the kids want. All that after standing on my feet all day. We talked about it once they left because I don't appreciate being told I'm not doing something she knows for a fact I do. She didn't want to apologize for it because it was all just to be a funny joke, even after telling her about how it hurt my feelings being put down like that. My wife said she felt like she has to go along with the joke so there wouldn't be any awkward vibes, whatever that means. But I said fine, if she can't apologize for something that was mean just so she could laugh along with her friends, then I won't keep doing something she already claims I don't do. For the past week, I've only brought home dinner for our kids, and she's had to make her own food. She's mad that I'm refusing to feed her over what happened instead of letting it go, but I can't help but feel mad about being made fun of like that when I'm busting my butt to provide for my family and still making sure they have food on the table every evening. She just thinks I'm an a-hole for how I'm reacting when she's already tired at the end of the day but still having to make food for herself. Am I the a-hole? Update. At first I wasn't going to post another update, but since things have gotten better, why not? I didn't show my wife this post like some suggested until a few days later, but before that, she wanted to talk before bed, and she apologized for how she's been behaving with me when she made those jokes and let her friends say things about me, then how she was acting afterwards. In reality, she knew she did wrong, but when I called her out, it made her defensive and she realizes how she was acting like a child after knowing how much I do for our family. That's when I showed her the post, and opened up about something that was mentioned by me in the comments, how it really hit a nerve for me, making it seem like I'm a lousy father/husband when my dad was exactly that. He abandoned me and my mom. She knows how important it is for me to be as involved as possible when our kids were born because I never wanted to be like him. So her making it seem like that's how I am brought up some feelings. Telling her this really made her feel like she screwed up big time. She wouldn't stop apologizing. She promised she'd never put me down that way. And honestly, I think she's shown that she meant her apology. For a week, she wanted to be the one making dinner for everyone, so I'd have some time to relax after work. It was nice, but also missed making meals for my family. Cooking for my kids is my own way of expressing my love for them, so we're back to that as well. I feel like my wife has more than shown how sorry she is and appreciates what I also do for this family. Last time I had lunch with her friend a few days ago on my day off, she even brought it up. As mad as I was when it happened, it's nice to see she's made an effort to make amends. The support I got here from here was very sweet. Appreciate feeling heard when it felt like my wife wasn't at the time. Protogenic says, I'm really glad things worked out for you regarding this. Cooking is definitely my way of showing love to those I care about as well. Keep being a great father and continue what you do regarding your cooking. The OP replied, Thank you. My family always loved my cooking, so knowing they enjoyed something I made on top of keeping them fed is always a nice reward for me. One more comment before moving on from Outlandishness Icy 577. What a brilliant example of how to heal a relationship. Well done on communicating how important this is to you. I'm glad she recognizes how important this is to you and is taking real action to fix the damage. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my friend Nancy to my courthouse wedding? Nancy, 27 female, and I, 27 female, have been friends for 8 years now. Adam, 27 male, and I have been friends for 10 years, and he's my best friend. My husband Mark, 26 male, and I got married a few days ago. We decided to only have 2 witnesses and an officiant there, the legal requirements, to minimize stress. Our 2 witnesses were Adam, who's my best friend, man of honor, and Mark's best friend, best man John. We did not invite our parents, our siblings, or any other friends outside of those that I mentioned. I have very toxic parents and really didn't want them there for my courthouse wedding. They bring a negative energy with them everywhere. As to not offend my parents, Mark decided to also not invite his parents and keep it a stress-free, intimate day with our best friends. A day after we got married, Nancy messaged me a long paragraph about how I excluded her and she felt hurt. She said that if I invited Adam, I should have invited her because we're a trio. She claimed I hid the ceremony from her purposefully. Here's the thing. I told her this was our plan months in advance. I've talked about it with her in front of Adam, which he confirmed is true, and again at my birthday dinner while my brother and his fiancée were also there. I told her that she must have forgotten, to which she responded by saying it was my responsibility as a good friend to remind her. The date was very easy to remember because it falls on the same exact month and day as our wedding next year, so I didn't feel the need to remind her since I had spoken about it with her multiple times. Her response to that was I reminded Adam and invited him. She should have had the same thing out of courtesy and that I violated our friendship dynamic. I told her that not even our parents or siblings were invited and apologized that I made her feel bad, but she continued to victimize herself and call me inconsiderate. She then said she needed time to reconsidering her involvement in my wedding next year. That message really hurt me because I feel like I didn't do anything to deserve that response. I then took back my apology and told her it's not my responsibility to prioritize her feelings on a day that is not about her. I told her that a good friend would just be happy for me and wouldn't be attaching guilt to one of the most amazing days of my life. I also told her that she cannot compare herself to Adam, who's basically like a brother to me, and that Adam is my man of honor and will continue to play a more involved role in the planning and execution of my wedding next year, and that she's just going to have to accept that. Am I the a-hole here? Update. Brief summary. My friend Nancy got mad that I had a courthouse wedding and she wasn't invited, despite us only inviting our 2 witnesses and an officiant, and also that I didn't remind her so she could share in my joy. She threatened to end the friendship and said I purposefully excluded her. Since my first post, I tried to have a conversation with Nancy about how it made me feel, that she turned my marriage into something about her instead of being supportive. But she gaslit me, and I ended up apologizing for making her feel excluded, even though she's meant to be a bridesmaid in my actual wedding later this year, and literally no one but my 2 witnesses were invited to my courthouse wedding. As a commenter predicted, it was a behavior that would repeat itself during my wedding planning process. I tried to include her in one of my dress fitting appointments. I made the appointment 3 weeks in advance, and she confirmed she'd be able to make it. 4 days before my appointment, she texted me saying she also made a wedding dress appointment on the same day as mine. She's engaged, but doesn't have a wedding date yet, so I found this suspicious. I told her it made me uncomfortable and that we should both be able to have our own days, but she insisted she couldn't cancel because everyone she invited already confirmed and that it didn't bother her. When I called her out on how she's so far made every step of my marriage and wedding planning about her, and she's not once been truly present for me, she made herself a victim and said I spit vitriol at her for saying she's attempting to make things about her and I was being a fake friend. So I cut her out of my bridal party entirely and told her to have a nice life. She since then sent me paragraphs about how I'm a crappy person. I didn't read it all, I deleted it, and don't intend on responding. Thank you to all the commenters on my original post for helping me see she was a crappy friend. And a special thank you for the person who called out the fact that this would be a repeated behavior. You were right. Our first reactions from Impossible Pause 3788. I'm glad you were able to disengage from her. I wish you the best moving forward, and a drama-free wedding. St. Alvis chimes in, I didn't read it all, deleted it, and don't intend on responding. Thunderous applause. Our next thought comes from Impressive Amoeba 97. Yay! Congrats on your wedding and your upcoming wedding. That sounds weird, but felicitations all the way around. And good on you for not bothering to read the texts. You don't need it to distract your focus. Have a great party. OP says, I know it sounds weird. I forget I'm married sometimes because we haven't had the wedding celebration yet, but I am indeed a Mrs. I wish she had ended her text barrage there, but a few more paragraphs flowed in a few days later, and I had to block her. No one tells you friendship breakups hurt this much. Our closing comment comes from Sweet Ragnarok. As a friend who used me for her wedding planning and then says she cannot invite me to her small, 200-person intimate wedding, I cut that person off completely for her repeated behavior. I was warned early on of my friend's deceptiveness, and I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. What I got was a toxic relationship that rubbed off on me and isolated me from other people. I'm so happy you are focusing on you. I hope you do save those letters in case she tries to badmouth you in your social circle. Your ex-friend seems to be an attention seeker that feeds off drama and will kick up anything to put the spotlight on her.